Welcome back to our show, your show, Let's Talk Stocks. In studio with us this morning is Mr. Richard Pandohie. Of course, big name. He's CEO at Seprod Group of Companies, but he's also CEO of A.S.Bryden Sons Holdings, a big part of the reason why we are here today, because A.S.Bryden just bought a big stake in Jamaica's CPJ, that's Caribbean Producers Jamaica Limited. Of course, Richard is also chairman of CPJ. Richard, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Absolutely great. Honored to have you. You've been doing such a big job at Seprod Group of Companies. Let's start there. Seprod, listed company on the Jamaican main market. What is it that drives Seprod and the things that you've been doing?
First of all, I mean, I'm privileged to have the leadership position, and and while I'm the person up front and the face of the company, it's so much more than that. There are thousands of people working in the organization. We have a board that is very defining, in terms of what they want to do. I think we have an amazing chairman in P.B. Scott, very driven.
Yes.
And if you look at what the Muslim Group has done,
yes,
that is now a homegrown multinational organization. And I think that, this is my 10th year at the group. 10th years CEO. It's my longest job. I keep saying that. And, when we started on this journey, the idea was to make it very special, to make it legacy defining. Yeah. And to make, I wanted this to be something that when you walk away, you'll remember in a very proud way your contribution, not only to a company, but to your country and to your region. And Seprod has given me the vehicle to be a part of that journey. So what's driving Seprod now is just really about we've gone on this path where we stated around 6-7 years ago that we're going to, the CARICOM was our domestic market. We didn't say Trinidad and Barbados, we saw it as our market. Yes. That's our export market. And we've made significant moves in that regard. And now we're looking beyond that now to say, how do we expand, not in a significant way to the rest of the Caribbean and to the Latin America region. So our vision has been consistent, our execution has been very focused. And I think we have been very transparent. I mean, that's one thing our shareholders seem to value.
Yes.
We've been very transparent, good or bad, we're telling you. And I mean, because that's life, right? Life is not always about telling a great story, a good story. Every day is not a good day, not even in your house. No. The growth is non-linear, but we have come out there always, and we think we have built a high level of trust, credibility with shareholders and with the stakeholders in large. So very proud of the journey, and it has been a privilege. I mean, I'd say it's every company I ever worked with, has been a lesson of some sort, but in terms of pride and in terms of what I'm going to look back on with the most, this is Seprod journey.
Seprod.
Yeah.
As you talk about that Seprod journey, off here we're talking, and you talk about some of the tough decisions that had to be taken up front. Exiting sugar, the Surge Island story. Talk to us about how that was for you as the leader and as the company. I mean, certainly, the board would have looked at a strategic decision and you made the decision that this is where we're going. How was it to take those tough decisions up front?
Yeah, and again, when we're talking off here, I say that, when I speak to my team, right, leadership team or anybody, everybody can tell you what we should be doing or what we'd like to do or what we want to bring on. And I always say, okay, tell us what we're not going to do. If you can define what you're not going to do, then it makes a discussion of what you want to do so much easier, right? And when we came in and looked at Seprod 10 years ago, and it was heavily invested in the sugar industry. We had bleach plant from time back, we had a detergent plant, we had a lot of things happening. And we decided to be very focused, and with the chairman and myself met and we discussed where would we like to take this company, what would we like to do. And then you realize you have to make some very difficult decisions, not just because of the financial, but because of the fact that the impact on country. Sugar is a large employer of people, hundreds of people cutting cane and processing cane. I'm from A lot of my roots is from St. Thomas.
Ah.
You know what I mean? It's but we had to make those decisions in order to relieve the company of the burden so that it could generate the cash to make investments, you know. And I mean, if you look up front, I mean, I remember being at one, there's a thing at UA, they're talking about sugar industry. It was chaired by Christopher Tufton. They were still in opposition at the time. And you had all the sugar experts there. And I'm there, right? I'm an engineer, so it's just the numbers I run, right? And so I'm there, I'm the newest person, and they gave me a few minutes on a podium, and I said, these aren't the numbers say. We're going to have a 70% reduction in number of sugar factories, this is going to happen, whatever. I said, the sugar factory that I run won't survive, it's too small. I remember a couple of the people went up and said, we're going to rename you Pandemonium, because you don't know what you're saying. They're like, sugar will never fail, because something going to happen somewhere in the world, and sugar, I mean, because they say that's a history,
Yes.
right? The only thing I got wrong was the timing. I said it was going to happen within 4 years, it happened within 2 years.
Wow.
That's the only thing I got wrong, because the numbers don't lie.
Absolutely.
I think that you look at those decisions, and for the first few years, those are the tough decisions you're making, and people looking at you and seeing that. But you had to have the vision of saying, if we do this right, it's going to release so much more. And thankfully, things, you know, 'cause you have to have some luck too.
Yes.
Things fell into place where the decisions have now. People look back and don't remember the history of those decisions. They're seeing what has happened as a result.
Yes.
But we would not be here today. I'm telling you that
Not
if we didn't make those decisions.
You speak to getting the cash flow right, and having that cash. People say cash is king, and you've proven it now correctly. Maybe about a year ago, you took on a company, A.S.Bryden Sons Holdings. There you go. 2 years now.
Yeah, June 16th was 2 years anniversary.
You bought that company, and then you brought it to the market, but you brought it in a different way. You listed by acclamation. That's totally different from what most people do.
Well, first of all, I'm going to give credit to we have a top-class finance team within Seprod and within the Muslim group. We give a big shout-out to Nicholas Scott and that team. And they're very talented group, right? I mean, I sit and learn from them a lot. But going back to cash, though, a lot of times they look at companies' earnings, they look at the P&L and the balance sheet, right? That's only part of the story. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to be generating cash. I mean, cash is the lifeblood of the organization. You saw during COVID how many companies did not survive because of the cash flow impact. And I mean, within the Seprod group, we watch the cash flow. I mean, like, that's the number one thing we're watching because cash, it takes cash to care.
You can be making profit and you don't have any cash, and then
you can
need to do a transaction. And
EBITDA and those things are great KPIs, wonderful, the financial market understand it. But you could have EBITDA to the hilt and you have the cash, you're still in trouble, right?
In trouble.
So, but yes, A.S.Bryden was, again, those opportunities come, mixture of cash and leverage and shares, all the combination necessary. But we have a good team look at the opportunity. I think that is something that I'd give the Muslim group a lot of credit for, Dave. They have utilized the capital market in a very creative way to be value accretive, right? I think that's a lesson that a lot of companies in the region can look to.
That's a documentary in and of itself.
Yeah. I mean, you need to get PB Scott on this. Yeah, but yeah, it's been a lesson. It's been a lesson.
Why A.S.Bryden though? Because yes, you looked at the books, you did some things right, you now have accrued the cash on the books. You're able now to look at opportunities, and I know you said, well, regionally, that's domestic market for you. Why A.S.Bryden?
Well, first of all, we stated our aspiration to be a regional player, right? It can't be regional if you're not in my mind, if you're not in Jamaica, Trinidad, Guyana, to an extent Barbados, right?
Absolutely.
And I mean, it probably could add Bahamas eventually. But I mean, you have to be in those countries. And you certainly, I mean, and distribution and selling product to Trinidad is not the same as having your flag planted there and doing stuff, right? So when we saw the opportunity for Bryden, and it's such a great fit, right? It was such a great fit with Facey that we had Seprod bought a few years before.
Yes.
In fact, they are the same IT platform. A lot of the principles that we service were the same principles as service. It was just uncanny how good the fit was. And we saw it as an opportunity where it would give us a regional expansion, but give us also synergies, and it would give us muscle. Because you need scale to make certain type of investment. And I mean, irrespective of your size of a company, there are certain investment that's going to cost you the same. Your IT platform, etc.
Yes.
So you need a scale to justify the investment, and to also, you need a scale to be able to attract a certain type of resources, human resources. Because you have to be able to afford it, right?
Yes.
And so I think that is where we saw Bryden's as that fit. Lots of synergies. And it was also, I think that was our defining moment in terms of regional, in terms of people that really took us seriously at that point.
Yes.
I mean, prior to now, when I landed in Trinidad, I mean, you had to explain what Seprod was. I don't need to explain anymore.
Yes.
And, you know, I think it's Guyana, for example. Bryden gave us another footstep into Guyana because of the relationship there. And so it was a great opportunity. And 2 years on, absolutely no regrets.
It's interesting, Richard, as we look at manufacturers in Jamaica and their ability to compete across the region. That's been a great challenge, given costs certainly back home here in Jamaica.
Still a challenge. I mean, but we've gotten better at it. I mean, it's you know, you look at energy costs. Jamaica is around 42 US cents per kilowatt hour thereabout. Trinidad is under 5 cents. So, you know, but with cogen and the different type of energy mix, with finance, you can get that down to like 14, 13 cents. And then we have to compete on productivity now.
Yes.
Because there are certain things like a football team, right? My defense, my midfield might be as strong as your midfield, but wherever I strength can take you out, right? I have great wingers are forward. So we think that the labor productivity and those things is where we can compete on to reduce the gap. And yes, we may have to take a lower margin to drive the volume. But we certainly are competing better. We're certainly we're competing not only in the region, but we're also co-manufacturing for companies outside the region, in the US, etc. So I've reached a point, and still not where we want to be, but with technology and COVID, post-COVID, you saw a lot of opportunity that didn't happen before, right? In terms of nearshoring. So I think that is not just us. I mean, there are a number of companies out there that, you know, when I was a former president of the JMA, I was during the COVID time, so I had to work very closely with a lot of manufacturers. I became the advocate for everybody. There's amazing stories out there. There are people out there, Jamaican companies out there that are competing on the global stage and winning on the global stage. That's how we know people like to keep them things kind of hug up, which is where the difference in Seprod and all those companies were public, so we talk about it. I think we have to have a leader, have a role to tell people about the success that they too can aspire for it. But yes, I mean, it's a number of those things have been happening, and going forward, you know, with success comes the desire for more success.
Yes. And talking about success and the desire for more success, 2 years on, A.S.Bryden, the new kid on the block, on the Seprod block, is now gone for what, 49% so far.
44.8%
so far.
And with intention of getting more.
In CPJ.
Right.
Big move. The engine room for growth in Jamaica has been the tourism industry.
Correct.
And I had the discussion recently. I said one of the things the stock market need to do more is list more companies in that industry. I don't know if you were listening on the conversation, but you went ahead now and you've gotten CPJ under your wings.
Right. So, I mean, you know, while you're having success, you're constantly looking at where are the opportunities. And we cleared that gap in the hospitality sector. Absolutely. I mean, so yes, we have been growing and we're selling more, but it's incremental growth. It's not transformational growth. And when we looked at what it would take to get there, I went, you know, it was going to take some time. Like going to take, and you know, we don't have unlimited human resource capacity available, right? So between the people and the time, and then, you know, suddenly this opportunity came up with CPJ. It was a really good fit. If it's to what Mark Hart had to say, you know, they're looking at succession planning, next steps, etc. And we were looking at entry. And I already made entry into the market with scale. And so it was a really good fit. I mean, we met with the shareholders and, you know, good energy. The visions are aligned. They care about their people. They want to make
Yes.
sure that there was, whatever happened, there was a part for their people. Because a lot of them have grown up with the company
Yes,
30 years at
yes.
CPJ. So listed on a junior stock exchange. So it was very easy to value and those type of things. So it was. We've been looking for this opportunity for pre-COVID.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, we've been looking. So this was, this was something that we're looking at, we're looking for, and when the opportunity came up, it moved really quickly. I mean, I can't even tell you how quickly this moved. I am still, my head's still spinning how quickly this moved.
So we've been chatting with Richard Pandohie. He's CEO of Seprod, also CEO of A.S.Bryden, and now new chairman of CPJ, the new subsidiary just bought. So much to talk about. We could never do it in one session. Come back with us for the second part of its interview. As we always say here on Let's Talk Stocks, we give you information to make better financial decisions. Back with us tomorrow morning at 9. Another great show lined up for you.